Hello and welcome to Cyclops Clover Studio Week 2. We are going to go over what we did in our assets, what we did in the game, what kind of levels we added, and some other miscellaneous items like the graph, which has a couple of different functions: the wave, the ripple, the multi-wave, which goes quicker, the sphere, which is not really a sphere in my eyes, and the torus, which you can make it look like, I guess, a star. Starting from the art, we're going to be using it for our next game that is not the ball game. And it's going to be centered around how trees grow, and we're going to have like 20 different types of trees. Currently, we have about 10 made, 3 to showcase, and we're going to move on from that soon when we finish the first game. Game 2 is still in its planning stage, so we only have the trees and not the races like the elves and dwarves and everyone that's going to be living in the trees, because dwarves live in trees, not under mountains. For graphs and everything that I've been learning off of this website, it may say that it's basics for shaders and all of that, but it is not primarily useful to me. I'm learning a bunch of formulas and how to work with shaders, but I'm not in the stage of the game to actually be looking at this so far. So I'm probably going to be pausing working with this website, and I'm going to focus more on game. Get your cutlery ready, because it's time to eat. First, whenever the ball fell, we couldn't get it to move if we hadn't pre-moved our field. So we fixed that by giving the whole environment a rigid body of its own, which we freeze the position and rotations, because if there's a lot of balls, the mass of the balls moves the field throughout like the world. So that is why we have to freeze the rotations and the positions. Afterwards, we decided that we are going to add level transitioning. How that works is when you reach the end level of each level, which is aptly tagged finish, then your ball loads the scene, makes scene manager load the next active scene. Pretty simple, straightforward. If you get to the last level designed, then it'll throw an error, but we will worry about that later. We also added the rotator script from the tutorial. Wow, we can reuse code. How nice. But there's a twist. If you touch the red bit, then your player object gets destroyed. You can choose the speed at which you rotate, do 900 there, or you can choose if it goes left or right. To power up the fans, we just used the code from our initial tutorials and just added the functionality to choose if it goes left or right from the editor, and to choose its speed. To add into that, we also added the destroyer on one of the fans, which compares if it's a player, we want to destroy it because we hate the player. Last but not least, we decided that we're going to add teleporters, which move you based on the teleporters' positions and their colors. Thus, you can use them to safely transition between walled off areas. The issues encountered with creating teleporters are if you decide to make them two ways, then your ball can be infinitely stuck. And the second one, as you may have noticed, the ball falls off the map if the second teleporter is below the map, which essentially means that it works, but it is definitely not a decent way to work if you don't link the teleporters directly to the map. So, how do the teleporters work? You predefine which point you want the teleporters to go to via a game object. And then, whenever the player enters the vicinity of the teleporter that you link this on, it destroys the initial player object, but saves a copy of it, which we then make a clone of in the new location, which technically means that we're not really teleporting the player and more of cloning it, but it's the same thing, right? Honorable bug mention of this week is that whenever you added a box that is not part of the environment, but like directly below it in the hierarchy, then the ball started to just bounce. But if you turned off the box collider for it, the ball would no longer bounce. I don't know why that is, but that is how it works. If anyone has any ideas why, please comment below. Thank you. Thank you again for joining Cyclops Clover Studio in this week's devlog. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're interested, we will eventually be selling the trees that we make as an asset pack to fund our game studio. Thank you for your time.